Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this doesn't work without you guys. Let's get open for business and let's wake up the football gods here on this Thursday. Now, we've got football again. It's week 3. Maybe not good football, but we got football. We've got the soap opera that is Jalen Ramsey. One NFL team was asked the NFL if we trade for him, can he play on Thursday night as well as Sunday? And the answer was no. Come on, man. Come on, man. Let's get real here. So he will be traded, I'm sure, at some point. Definitely not to the Cowboys. The Cowboys are not going to spend that much for a guy. And I've voiced my opinions on that. One, we don't need another cornerback. We're actually pretty deep there. Two, I don't want that kind of personality. A person who, at the first sign of trouble, is just ready to run. I want people to know that got my back through thick and thin. But that's me. It's amazing how I'm just a guy that loves the Cowboys. People come up to me all the time and oh Mark, it's like listen, I am just a regular Joe the fan. I am just making my predictions or my thoughts and giving you what I believe is going to happen. But it's funny because I've been saying stuff all off season. I've said that the Dallas Cowboys, the course of, if you look at the 2017 season, the biggest problem we had, most people will point to and say is because we had Zeke Elliott out. But I'll point to, that's a problem. But I'll point to that it was actually depth was the problem. We had great starters. Make no mistake, if Dez Bryant was healthy, Dez Bryant's one of the best wide receivers in football. But Dez Bryant got hurt. And when you went from Dez Bryant, our receiving crew, of course, well, we had Cole Beasley and Terrence Williams, and I can't remember who else. You didn't have quality people that were able to take up the slack. When you lose a Tyron Smith, you had a Chaz Green who has done the NFL tour, but has basically had cup of coffee in a lot of NFL cities. You had Sean Lee who was balling out the year before, but when Sean Lee went out, you didn't have that guy to replace him like a Van Der Esch. More than anything else, it's not always about having the number one guys everywhere. It's not always just those first 11 guys. It's those next 11 guys that are going to have to play. Because make no mistake about it, as you look at teams right now that are getting injured with quarterbacks, defensive linemen, offensive linemen, wide receivers, it's the depth that will carry you through until those players get back. And that's one of the things that the Dallas Cowboys, for the first time, since the 90s that they were able to do. And that's one of those things I pointed out why I looked at the Cowboys team and I said we have depth across the board. With the exception of maybe safety is the area that you're most concerned about. But we have our thick and defensive linemen. We were thick and offensive linemen. And FYI, um, for all centers that have had 25 or more um, pass plays, Travis Frederick is only one of 3 that has not given up a pressure. So shout out to Travis Frederick because he is back. The offensive line is doing well. And regardless of what they say about the Washington Redskins have some defensive linemen that are good players. So don't sleep on them. Everybody is saying how bad the Giants and the Redskins are as opposed to saying how good actually that offensive line played for those guys. Because make no mistake about it, the Washington Redskins had beat down the Philadelphia Eagles 17 to nothing in the first half and only ended up winning by what, 5 points? So if we are to believe what everybody said, Philadelphia Eagles, best team in football, depth wise, they started that game healthy and the Redskins went toe to toe with them. So don't sit here and throw shade at that Redskin defensive line. It's a lot better than you get. But I've said a lot of things about Dak Prescott last year. I said, listen, if you take the totality of the season and the averages, yeah, the numbers look suppressed because the first half was dismal. I'll be the first one to admit it. But we didn't have the players. We had, wide receiver Allen Hurns was our number one, who was a guy who just got here. It takes time when you come to a new team to get used to playing. And everybody will say, oh, well, he has to have Amari Cooper. Yeah, you do have to have people that can catch the ball and run routes, okay? But Amari Cooper wasn't throwing the ball to himself. Those guys immediately clicked. And that was part of the impetus that changed the season. That, and I also believe that getting rid of Paul Alexander and going back to the way that those old veterans like Tyron Smith used to block as opposed to zone blocking. All these things became factors on this team, and this team, think about it, was 7-1 the second half of the season. Dak Prescott was averaging like 260 yards passing per game towards the end of the season. So the team was peaking. And I believe that with them being youthful, they would continue. Now, all of a sudden, everybody is surprised after 2 games. And they're trying to make you think that these 2 games are the reason that Dak Prescott is great. But it's not. It's been the totality of his work over the last 3 years and 2 games. But it's kind of amazing now to hear some of these talking heads with saying some of the things that they're saying now.
Right now.
Right now. Right now.
Right now.
It would be Dak Prescott. It would be Dak Prescott. I think he's absolutely been phenomenal. As far as I'm concerned, thus far, he's been the best quarterback in the NFC. And whether or not that's going to last remains to be seen.
Philly, I expect to hear you say something about this, that now they'll take Dak Prescott over Carson Wentz.
And I'll leave Carson Wentz to Max, but I'm just saying that right now, after 2 weeks in this NFL season, throwing for nearly 700 yards, throwing for 7 touchdowns, just 1 interception, displaying the leadership that he has displayed, playing with the level of consistency that he has played with Kellen Moore, new offensive coordinator, really airing it out and showing his innovative skills as well. He's clearly an upgrade from Chan Gilly. I don't think that anybody would deny that based on what we've seen over the next 2 weeks. Now, obviously, we have to consider the level of competition, which is something that I pay attention to in a very rapt fashion, I might add. The Giants and the Redskins are not defensive juggernauts. Let's just be clear. I'm also paying attention to Josh Norman, a guy that has been on this show before, a guy that I respect, a guy that got $75 million from the Washington Redskins.
Ouch.
Let me put an APB out for Josh Norman. Deshaun Jackson burnt you in week 1. This kid, Devin Smith, out of Ohio State yesterday. It wasn't Gallup. It wasn't Amari Cooper. It was him well, I'm not going to say because you know how they always deny, like, oh, excuse me, it wasn't, you got to understand football. You don't know the play or whatever. You were in the damn vicinity when a bomb was caught. Okay? The number 24 Redskins jersey is what we've seen the first 2 weeks of the season when big plays have been given up for touchdowns. So we got to pay attention to that, okay? Having said all of that, considering the fact that they haven't really focused and leaned on the running game the way that they have customarily over the first 3 seasons of Dak Prescott's career. Looking at him quarterback, looking at the number of receivers that he's hitting, he's targeting Cooper, Gallup, Smith, Witten. The list goes on and on.
On and on.
The fact is, the one constant has been Dak Prescott continuing to show that he has elevated his level of play, and he is somebody, this is why he's looking for a contract now. This is why he's looking for a contract when the owners are looking for every excuse to lowball him. He's not giving them anything. I've got to give credit where credit is due thus far. Not only would I take Dak Prescott over Wentz, but the first 2 weeks of this season, Dak Prescott has been the best quarterback in the NFC.
First of all, the cornerback, when people criticize you when you said, who did you bring up before? Who got burnt?
Josh Norman.
Josh Norman gets burnt by Devin Smith. Devin Smith's a speedster.
Yes, he is.
Devin Smith
And
is the
then,
bomb.
you give Dak
Literally.
Prescott too. You sell the play fake, then the safety bites, and now the safety's not where he's supposed to be. Josh Norman gets the blame, right? Okay. But that just points out how deep the Cowboys are. Everywhere you look, you say Devin Smith, who's at the 3rd, 4th best receiver on the team, and he can burn you like that. The offensive line is the best in football. And by the way, you know who they were supposed to get competition from this year for best in the NFC offensive line? The Eagles. The Eagles are hurt. And that's why you're not comparing apples to apples. Now, look, Dak Prescott, I've said in the past, reminds me of Tom Brady and Russell Wilson early in their careers. Game managers, big on third down, cool under pressure. And by the way, he shows up on the field, right? He's not getting hurt all the time. He takes what the defense gives him, all that stuff. And now he's elevated. He's taken it. Can he be elite? He's playing at an elite level so far. But with a fully healthy squad, the offensive line, the running back, full complement of receivers, the defense, everything firing on all cylinders. And now a more dynamic offensive coordinator in terms of play calling. So Dak has all that. What does Wentz have? Look around him. It's like a battle zone.
Here we go.
Guys are getting hurt before the games.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming because you know what? This is amazing that no matter what, they will find excuses for other guys and kill Dak for it. Because what did we always hear from Max and stuff about, like the Aaron Rodgers or the Big Bens, guys that will put the teams on their back and end up willing them to win? How come they're not saying that about Carson Wentz? Because basically we're told that Dak needs those guys. Dak needs those guys to win. Okay, well, Carson Wentz, we were told, was an MVP candidate. So why isn't it that he doesn't need other people, that he can't put people on his back and take them to a win? Huh. It seems like there's two sets of rules here between Dak Prescott versus everybody else. So now we're making excuses for Carson Wentz. We were told that the Eagles had the best offensive line. Better. When you looked at the rankings, they had Eagles offensive line. They actually moved the Cowboys up second. Now, the Cowboys were actually rated 18th, I believe, in pass protection last year, and I think 5th in run blocking. But now we're all of a sudden talking about Cowboys have everything. You know, weren't we told that they had Deshaun Jackson? You know, you're talking about in week 2, a mass unit? That goes to say something about the training staff or the guys that they brought in. Don't discredit the Dallas Cowboys because they can't stay healthy. Something else that I pointed out too. You know I'm just a guy in my basement, but I told you guys in the offseason, here's the problem. The Eagles have talented people. Make no mistake about it. Deshaun Jackson, if he's healthy and can go 100%, is going to go to the house. But the problem is when you start getting to those 30s, and as I've discovered as I get into my 50s, when you wake up in the morning, you got a few more aches and pains. You don't recover as fast. Those minor things become a little bit more major. You don't move as fast as you used to. And so when you have an aging team like the Eagles do, and I believe, I don't have the statistic right now in front of me, but during the offseason, it was projected that they were about the 7th oldest team, where the Cowboys were about the 6th youngest. Then you have to look at a team with guys that are going to break down. That's not the Cowboys' fault. Don't throw shade on them. That's the route the Eagles decided to go, with a mainly veteran team and older guys. And if you're going to talk the talk, then walk the walk about the quarterback, because you said Dak Prescott can't put a team on his back and will them win because he's not an elite quarterback. Now, you're saying, well, Carson Wentz, well, he doesn't have anybody around. So where is he can put a team on his back? Next. Sit your ass down, Max. Please give the man credit where credit's due. Just once. Just once. Now, we have the Miami Dolphins this week. And it's easy for us to think, oh, man, this is just going to be a give-me game. You know what? I'm telling you guys, do not have that attitude. You go in like this game is the Super Bowl. You go in with an attitude that you're going to come in and crush. If you take it easy in football, I'm telling you, you get punched in the mouth before you know what's going to happen. What happens? All of a sudden, you've lost the game. I know it's easy when you look at the Miami Dolphins that are 4th in the AFC East, which New England, let's face it, New England, part of the reason why they're good is because everybody else in their division is always so bad. Pretty much they've got 6 gimme games a year. That's half of the wins they need, every year out of the division, because nobody has stepped up at all. And the Miami Dolphins are on a fire sale. They are literally saying, the hell with this season, we don't want to win. They are pulling a major league. They're just not moving. They just want to go ahead and say, we're blowing it all up. We're going to make sure that we get the number 1 pick. We're going to get ourselves a quarterback. We're going to get some impact players. We are just going to go ahead and just draft a whole new team, so we don't give a rat's ass about this season. Which is why you see them at 5 points per game average, 32nd in the league. 192 yards per game on offense, 32nd in the league. 160 yards passing, which that they're passing every down because they're so far behind, 30th. Running the football, 31 yards. Our quarterback had more rushing yards than that last week. So you look at that and you say, yeah, they suck. But make no mistake about it, you still need to prepare for those guys. And I'm happy to hear our players, Zeke Elliott, basically say, hey, they're professionals. They go to work. They will beat you too. So they are not taking this game lightly. And understand, this is the thing that you got to think about. It doesn't matter which games you win. You just have to collect enough helmets in our dumpster here to make the playoffs. Doesn't matter if it's New Orleans. It doesn't matter if it's Miami. You need those wins. But what you have to do is you have to win the games you're supposed to win. And this is a game, make no mistake about it, that the Dallas Cowboys are supposed to win. And then hope that you win some of the ones that could be kind of close. Because what we need to realize is we had a great team last year. That team turned it around. But unfortunately, because of our slow start, that we couldn't get that home field advantage. That when we went to L.A., we didn't have that home crowd behind us. We didn't have that momentum. We didn't have that bye week. And had we won, say, the Texans game in overtime, say that Redskin game that we were robbed from the snap, if we had gotten one or two of those games, maybe we would have had a chance to get that home field advantage or get a bye week and have a better shot at making it to the Super Bowl. And right now, we want every single advantage that we can get to make no doubt that we can do it. I'm not playing anymore. This shit is for real. I am sick and tired of hearing everybody saying that the Dallas Cowboys haven't done crap for the last 25 years, that the Dallas Cowboys are living on those old dusty trophies. I want to go to the Super Bowl. I want to be there reporting about my Dallas Cowboys. And in the same way that now everybody is kissing Dak Prescott's ass, I want all of these talking heads out here, all of these idiots that said that the Dallas Cowboys, 19th ranked team, third tier quarterback, the Dallas Cowboys, they won't win their division. I want all of those dudes to eat crow because I believe in my team and I always have. Well, guys, went a little long-winded here today, but there's always lots to talk about with the Dallas Cowboys. And I got to go get to my day job because, as they tell me, there's no future here on YouTube for you. So don't quit your day job. But as always, friends, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. I will see you guys soon.